Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's topic is love stinks. I'm so excited to present this information to you guys. It's scientific, it's research, and it ties in so much with yoga. This is neuroscience, polyvagal theory, neuroplasticity, and somatic repair. So love stinks is about when attachment breaks and the nervous system takes over. When there may be betrayal, infidelity, abandonment, self-protection, and repair needed. But before we begin, I want to really name something important. This workshop discusses attachment, betrayal, rupture, and repair. And for some of you, this may feel current and tender, and for others, it may feel historical. And for some, it may not feel personal at all. You are in charge of your participation today. You are not required to share anything. You're not required to relive anything, and you're not required to agree with anything. If at any point your body feels overwhelmed, numb, restless, or disconnected, that is not a problem. That is your nervous system doing its job. So you're welcome to turn off your cameras. You're welcome to stand, lie down, step away, or just simply listen. Nothing here will require disclosure. Nothing here will require forgiveness, and nothing here will require decision making. Today is about education and regulation, not exposure. If anything feels activating, let that be information, not instruction. My goal is not to revisit the pain. It is to help the body stop sounding the alarm. Before we talk about love, betrayal, or repair, we need the nervous system to know that nothing is being demanded of it. Right now, we are not solving anything. We are only orienting to safety. So I'll ask you for just a moment if you'll sit up nice and tall, and we'll do a little bit of breathing. But in order to do effective breathing, and this effective breathing is extremely important for this emotional wellness program. So open up the lungs, sit up tall, bring your chins parallel with the floor, take your throat back, ears back, and allow the shoulders to relax away from your ears. And I invite you, if it feels okay for you, to just close your eyes and feel this breath. As you exhale through the mouth, the next inhale through the nose, hold the breath, and then allow yourself to exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nostrils, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now allow your breathing to return to normal. From a neuroscience perspective, learning only happens when the brainstem and the limbic system feel safe enough to stay online. So this breath is not just symbolic, it is functional. Let the exhales be longer than your inhales. A longer exhale stimulates the vagus nerve, and it signals to the body that there is no immediate threat. So anytime during this workshop, just allow your exhalations to be a little longer than your inhalations. Okay. So why this workshop exists? Heartbreak is often framed as emotional or moral failure. Neuroscience tells a different story. Betrayal is processed by the brain as a threat to survival because attachment is wired into our nervous system as safety. From infancy, proximity equals protection. When attachment breaks, the nervous system responds as if the ground has just disappeared. This workshop is not about blame. It's about understanding patterns so the nervous system can stop repeating them. Please notice the cue here that this is education and not exposure. When the body knows it's learning, not reliving, regulation becomes possible. If you feel disoriented, panicked, frozen, or unable to think clearly, that is not weakness. That is biology doing its job. This workshop is not here to help you understand what happened. It's here to help your body stop sounding the alarm. So most people think that heartbreak is emotional, and from a nervous system perspective, it is. It is an attachment injury, a threat to survival, and a loss of safety, orientation, and identity. This workshop explores what happens when we feel betrayed, what happens when someone cannot stay, why neither role is about morality, how cycles repeat, and how they stop. Let's take a soft inhalation into your ribs and let a long sigh out. Let your body know that this is education and not exposure. Again, inhaling in to feel the ribs all expanding, the front, the sides, the back ribs expanding. And when you exhale, exhale with a loud sigh. One more just like that. Inhaling into your ribs and take time to feel the front ribs, the side ribs, the back ribs expanding. And when you exhale, open your mouth, sigh, and feel your shoulders drop away from the ears. So early attachment and the first betrayal. So early romantic betrayal often occurs while the prefrontal cortex, the part of the thinking brain and logical thinking, it's still developing. That means that the nervous system encodes the experience somatically, not cognitively. Early heartbreak, say in adolescence or early childhood, it occurs while relational templates are still forming. So, clinically, early betrayal often collapses safety and attachment, where love and danger become linked. Installs a predictive model. If I open fully, I will be destroyed. And number 3, it forces an adaptive strategy. So control, distance, or preemptive rupture. And this becomes what is called the predictive model. Not a belief, but it becomes a reflex for us. So here's how we can reframe early heartbreak, is that it's not a flaw in our capacity to love. It is a learned survival response. And according to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, trauma is not the event itself, but how the body holds what could not be processed at the time. These adaptations were intelligent. They protected you when the system did not yet have capacity. So understanding that protection is not our personality. So when people say, that's just how I am in relationships, they're often describing nervous system strategy and not a character trait. Romantic attachment activates early memory networks stored below our even conscious awareness. So the autonomic nervous system responds before we can even think. That is why insight alone rarely changes relational patterns. The body must learn safety in real time. Romantic attachments activate our early betrayal memory networks. It activates core attachment wounds, and it activates our autonomic survival responses. So common adaptations are emotional distancing, leaving first, and control through withdrawal or rupture. But the clinical truth here is that the capacity for love can be intact while intimacy feels unsafe. So when staying becomes unsafe, so dorsal vagal shutdown is a state of conservation, emotional numbing, collapse, and loss of vitality. It often looks like depression, but it is the nervous system pulling the plug to survive. When someone leaves abruptly or causes rupture, it may be the only way their system can mobilize enough energy to escape a collapse. This is not justification, this is physiology. From the outside, staying looks stable, functional, and good enough. But from the inside, the nervous system experiences a dorsal vagal shutdown, emotional numbing, and a loss of vitality and self-recognition. So through a clinical lens, leaving may occur as a forced sympathetic override to escape collapse. This is survival and it is not cruelty. So when we look at betrayal as a neurobiological threat, the brain imaging studies show that social rejection and betrayal activate the same neural pathways as physical pain. This is why betrayal hurts in the body. The nervous system asks 3 questions. Am I safe? Can I trust my perception? And will I survive this? We regulate first because understanding without regulation re-traumatizes the system. So betrayal is not just emotional pain. Betrayal activates the same neural circuits as a physical threat, abandonment, and social death. This is why betrayal feels disorienting, obsessive, identity shattering, and physically painful. So just take a moment and let's breathe. Inhale low into the belly through the nose. So take a deep breath through your nose into your belly. And when you exhale, exhale like you're fogging a mirror. Inhale slowly through the nose, take the deep breath in. And when you exhale, open your mouth and like you're fogging a mirror up, exhale it all out. Another breath just like that, inhaling through the nostrils and feel it like you're fogging up a mirror, because we need to stabilize before understanding as this information comes across. So that's a deep inhale into your belly. And when you exhale, feel yourself just sigh it out, fog it up a mirror. Okay. So when we look at this from the polyvagal theory, which is developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, he explains why people respond so differently to betrayal. Some of us move into panic and hypervigilance, and others will just shut down completely. Neither response is wrong. They are adaptive attempts to restore safety. Longer exhales through our breath will stimulate the vagus nerve that allows the nervous system to come out of a defense mode. Because after betrayal, the ventral vagal safety collapses. When we look at the polyvagal theory, right? So our ventral vagal safety collapses. That's where we feel safe and connected. The sympathetic activation spikes, which is the anxiety starts to come in. So we have panic and vigilance, or we could have a complete dorsal vagal shutdown where there's numbness, there's despair, where I can't get out of bed in the mornings. It's not possible, right? But our nervous system is asking, is like, how do I protect myself? Not what does this mean? So remember that this is from early, survival of caveman days, right? Our nervous system has developed from then to now. So it's just interested in surviving this physical thing to survive through stress that's coming in, right? So when we feel this kind of overwhelm that's coming in, whether it be panic, vigilance, numbness, despair, when we're getting dysregulated, Here's another breath. So as you can see, as we're going through, as we're building up on our information, we're also learning breathing patterns to help us regulate and stay in the education mode, right? So here's a breath that we can work with the polyvagal theory to get us more regulated. So you'll inhale for the count of 4. We will exhale for the count of 8. We're going to breathe through our nose, and we use the longer exhales to signal safety to our body. So join me on this. After your next exhalation, sit up tall, open your lungs, and inhale through your nostrils for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nostrils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nose slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Slowly inhale fully. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Allow yourself to breathe in normally, inhaling and exhaling. As you're being taught these breathing patterns, you can find something that sits well for you in your nervous system that calms and regulates us down. So through these different breathing techniques, please start to notice what breathing technique is it that you like and that feels more opening and freedom inside of your body. So we'll continue on, and when we look at, and this is it. This is where we tie in so beautifully with healing through our nervous system, is because the body keeps the score. So when we do this, we are, according to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, the body is, when something happens, it remembers the tone, the timing, the facial expressions, and the moment that trust broke. This memory is stored in our nervous system and not in the narrative brain. So healing for our nervous system requires a bottom-up repair, not just inside. And this is why people say, I know that it's over, but my body still reacts. The body has not yet completed the experience. So something comes in and it creates anxiety or stress for us, and that settles into our actual tissues. And, we learn more about it, we think more about it, we unpack it mentally. But when we add this opening up the physical body to release what's stuck in the tissues, that's where the breakthroughs come through. You can understand something mentally, but still be holding on to it in your physical body, according to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. So remember that it was not about you. So this is one of the most important truths in healing betrayal, is that people betray because their nervous systems lack the capacity to stay present, regulated, and vulnerable, not because the partner was inadequate. So according to both attachment theory and Dr. Tara Swartz's work on neuroplasticity, behavior reflects brain capacity under stress. Capacity can grow, but it must be trained, not demanded. So this is essential. Their capacity under stress was not a measure of your worth. So there's common drivers of betrayal, reasons why betrayal happens. There could be a fear of intimacy or engulfment, an identity collapse, unresolved attachment to trauma, dorsal shutdown masked by stimulation, or the inability to tolerate vulnerability. So the truth here is that you did not fail to be enough. They could not stay regulated enough to remain. This is not an excuse. It is a nervous system explanation, and explanations restore dignity. So sit up tall. Let's just breathe this in for a moment. After your next exhale, inhale through your nose. And when you exhale, exhale through pursed lips and exhale completely. Remember that we are studying capacity, not assigning blame. So allow yourself to breathe in through your nose. And when you exhale, twice as long, pursed lip, and just let it go. Again, receive the breath as you inhale through the nose. And when you exhale out, and just feel your shoulders drop. So moving on into a trauma reenactment. The nervous system repeats what it knows, not what it prefers. So familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar pain. So let me say that again. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Okay. So reenactment is not self-sabotage. It's unfinished learning. So neuroplasticity, when we talk about this, we're talking about the wiring in our brain, the things that make us keep repeating patterns of ways of being, right? And sometimes when we work with our nervous system and we have to heal, we have to create new pathways of the ways that we respond and we behave in that, right? So neuroplasticity tells us repeated experiences of safety create new neural pathways. So trauma repeats because the nervous system seeks familiarity, predictability, and control over endings. So protection becomes self-betrayal when it hardens into a pattern. Okay. So remember, write this down. And when we have the question and answer at the end, we can unpack this a little bit more. But neuroplasticity tells us repeated experiences of safety. When we do something that's a bit different because we want to feel differently at the end of this, it creates new neural pathways. But just with neuroplasticity in itself, it's not you behave differently one time and that's your new way of being. It requires consistency of practicing on how to keep having different responses to things, right? So we'll unpack that a little bit more. But when we work with trauma and we're thinking about this and we want our systems to calm down a little bit, I'm going to introduce another breathing technique to you because from all of the workshops that I have put together throughout the past year and moving into almost 2 years, people say that the breathing techniques have helped them the most. So whether it helps you at this moment or not, just give it a fair shake and give it a try, sitting up nice and tall. And this one is called the box breathing. And this is a breath that is used by the Navy SEALs for training. So you can imagine under pressure and stress and working with the breathing technique. Let's just see how this feels for you. So sitting up nice and tall, after your next exhalation, inhale through the nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale and start to breathe normally. Inhaling and exhaling. And this is an excellent way to interrupt that loop, that spiral that we tend to go into, the looping of the anxiety. When you have to count the breaths out and you have to stay with an inhale, a hold, an exhale, a hold, inhale, that takes us out of the alarm system in our brain and brings us more to our rational brain, and that can break a cycle for us to get us back to more regulated state to handle what is in front of us in the moment. So that's another type of breathing, and it's called box breathing. All right, so when we are looking at this and we look at shame and regulation, so shame shuts down the social engagement system, and healing requires dignity before accountability. So another doctor that we reference quite a bit in this emotional wellness is Dr. Ariel Swartz, and she emphasizes regulation must come before meaning making. The body needs proof of safety before the mind can integrate. So shame lives in collapse and silence. Shame says that I am defective, I destroy, or I don't deserve repair. But the clinical truth here is that regulation reduces shame by restoring safety. The betrayed hears, I don't need to explain myself, justify my pain, or figure it all out to begin healing. And when you do that, you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to justify the pain, and you don't have to figure it all to start this healing process. That restores our dignity. This aligns directly with Dr. Ariel Swartz's sequencing, where she says there's safety, which leads to regulation, which leads to integration, which leads to responsibility. So here I am speaking to both the betrayed and the betrayer, but from different internal experiences. Shame is not role specific. It is a nervous system state and not a moral position. So, how this lands for the betrayed. For the betrayed, shame often sounds like, I should have known, I wasn't enough, I must be unlovable. And this shame collapses the system inward, leading to self-blame, loss of self-trust, isolation, and difficulty with attaching again. And how this lands for the betrayer is the shame often sounds like, I am a terrible person, I destroy everything, I don't deserve repair. And this shame drives avoidance, defensiveness, secrecy, and repeated rupture. And for the betrayer, this slide communicates shame is not accountability, it is a nervous system collapse. And crucially, accountability is impossible without regulation. This once again aligns with Dr. Ariel Swartz's sequencing, where there's safety, which leads to regulation, regulation to integration, and from integration, responsibility. So this applies whether you were betrayed or the one who caused the harm. Shame collapses the nervous system in the same way. But from a nervous system lens, both roles experience collapse of social engagement. Both lose access to curiosity, to empathy, and repair. Both require regulation before meaning making. So the bottom line here is this is speaking to the nervous system underneath both experiences. So then when we talk about yoga, and you know, a lot of people think yoga is rolling out the mat and, you know, doing the pretzel thing. And that's not just what yoga is. Yoga is a complete system. And so we are bringing in the 8 limbs of yoga here, where the postures are only one doorway into, it's not just the destination. But the ancient teachings that we study when we do a yoga teacher training, so that a lot of you are teachers in here or students of yoga, but even if you haven't participated in yoga, we study the ancient teachings, which remind us that pain can imprint the nervous system, but that does not define our essence. And so one of the main texts that we study from is the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita. And that both of these texts that we study that guide us inward, not as an escape, but as a return, right? So a return to the part of us that witnesses, that remembers, and that remains intact even after hurt and pain occurs. So these texts remind us that while pain can imprint the nervous system, it does not own our essence. And that there is a depth of consciousness, truth, and inner steadiness that cannot be stolen by another's actions. So the first one I want to look at is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And in this book, there's 4 chapters, but in the first chapter, verse 33, it is Maitri Karuna Mudita Upikshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Apunya Vishayanam Bhavantas Chitta Prasadana. And what this is, and it translates into, is the mind becomes clear and peaceful through the cultivation of friendliness, of compassion, joy, and wise distance in response to pleasure, pain, virtue, and harm. So this Yoga Sutra is often taught as kind of, be nicer, right? But in reality, it is a nervous system prescription. So when we look at Maitri, is friendship. That's talking about us in the nervous system wise, a ventral vagal tone. That's the state of regulation. And then when we say karuna is the compassion or a co-regulation without leaving yourself, without self-abandonment. Then we have mudita, joy, restoring an inward circuitry after collapse. And upeksha is neutrality, indifference. So there's boundaries and not bypassing, right? So through this, and there's more to it that would break down and things that we study, but in essence, by cultivating friendliness toward unhappiness, compassion toward suffering, joy toward virtue, and equanimity toward non-virtue, this is the important part. The mind becomes clear and serene. So why this is powerful for somebody who has been hurt? Because it's not asking for forgiveness. It teaches selective engagement, safety first. Healing isn't about opening your heart indiscriminately. It's about training discernment without shutting down. We'll look at just a few sutras. This is not the full study of yoga, but we are talking about yoga and the system of yoga and how I've learned to work with healing, and hopefully there's something for you. But when we look at Yoga Sutra, same of Patanjali, Yoga Sutra 2, verse 1 says it's Kriya Yoga as capacity building. So basically it translates into Kriya Yoga consists of discipline, effort, self-study, and surrender to what is larger than personal control. So when we break that down, there's the tapas. Tapas is the work or the discipline, and it moves us into gradual nervous system strengthening, not by forcing. And so this correlates a lot with yoga poses that we are asked to move through on the mat, right? So anybody who's been practicing yoga with a station teacher, you learn in there that we're not there to force a pose to look like something, but there's a gradual working towards. You have to keep showing up and practicing on the pose and working towards something without force. And so the nervous system strengthening, the work that we do, we have to keep showing up for the work with an intention that, we're working to heal our nervous system, because scientifically we understand that something might be going on in the actual biology of us. And so when we talk about svadhyaya, that's one of the 8 limbs of yoga that we study. It's observing our own patterns, but without shame. So it's looking out at the ways that we react when something happens. It's a personal study, but the key words here are without shame. It's looking in it from just a little bit of a distance, right? I know I'm a runner. When stuff is starting to happen, I can disappear so fast, right? And so I have to consciously make myself stay a little bit longer when something's happening so that I can change through neuroplasticity, right? So, so why all of this matters after betrayal? Well, betrayal controls reflexes. So the sutra is offering us a path out that doesn't collapse our agency, our choices, our personal choices. We're still able to control. And so healing isn't a passive surrender, sleeping until it's all over with, right? It's a regulated effort. And we come in with humility, right? Because sometimes I see patterns in myself that I'm not proud of. But through these studies, I've realized that there may have been some early conditioning that predisposes me to that kind of behavior. I don't like it anymore. So I constantly work to change the way that I react to things. So this is how, like, these texts have helped me a little bit. And take what you want, leave the rest behind. But through this, in how future suffering can be prevented. When we study the sutras, I'm not going to keep breaking them down, but understanding that healing is not about erasing the past, right? It's about preventing the nervous system from continuously reliving it. So when we look at the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, chapter 2, verse 16, it's basically saying that the body reenacts what wasn't regulated in the first place. So a conscious regulation interrupts future suffering. And this helps us reframe healing as protective, not reactive. And, like I said, we don't have to erase things from the past. But when healing begins, it is when we stop using pain. Hear this part, please. So healing will begin when we stop using pain as evidence against ourselves. Okay? So when we look at attachment, betrayal, and clinging, so across spiritual traditions, there's this where you have to kind of give up control to what outcomes are, we talk about. And I talk spirituality, but not necessarily. You take it as you want and leave it behind. But across the spiritual traditions, we see the same understanding that emerges, that love without inner stability can become dangerous for us. So betrayal is not explained as a failure of worth, but as a collapse of our capacity. Healing is not framed as punishment or forgiveness first, but as a restoration of inner order. We're always working to come back in to that precious space within us. So we're trying to get back into not what's broken, but what's already in order, but we just don't know that yet. So retreating into this place deep within our heart. So trauma neuroscience now confirms what ancient text from centuries ago, where shame dysregulates, but safety integrates. So that's just a nice side thing to understand, that there's many, many ways to work with our healing beyond, maybe what we thought was available for us. And I know this is a heavy into this, but it's like the teachings of yoga. But real quick, the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 62 to 63. This is for people who want to study it a little bit more. But in essence, from attachment comes desire. And from desire comes frustration. And from frustration comes confusion. And from confusion comes a loss of memory. And from a loss of memory, the destruction of our own discernment. So this quote represents the downward spiral of human consciousness. So when we tie this back into neuroscience, unregulated attachment will then move into a threat response, will then lead into a cognitive collapse. We can't understand what's happening. Then it leads into our identity fracture. Remember, we're trying to get into this place that's already deep within us. And whether you believe it or not, it's already whole, beautiful, complete. And so we get pulled away from knowing this place deep within us. And the last thing I want to, talk about in the spirituality sense, because to me, this is for me, from me to you, is that I just think that this is such a beautiful quote, that above all else, guard your heart. It's going to make me cry. For everything that you do flows from it. So it's like this healing journey is so worth taking. And what this shows us is that there's a correlation between spiritual text in the Bhagavad Gita, where attachment dysregulates our discernment, and through, the Bible or whatever it is, and leave behind if it's not for you. But an unguarded heart destabilizes the whole system. And we need the system to be intact, right? So both traditions and many of these teachings are a warning against fusing into somebody else's nervous system and not love itself, because love is pure, right? So let's get back to this inner authority, that place inside of us after betrayal happens, because I don't know of anybody in this life, nor have I been able to go through this journey without having some type of betrayal or being a betrayer. So inner authority after betrayal, where external conditions cannot stabilize the self. And so healing requires internal grounding, again, coming into ourselves. Freedom returns through inner authorship. So if you've been doing a yoga practice, you'll get this reference now that you may have been hearing for years. But, just in the basic pose, the tree pose, where we practice this tree pose, people poo-poo that and they think it's nothing. But it really is, it has a deep importance in that pose, because there's this grounding. And when we talk about a tree, the tree, and a lot of you live in places where there's hurricanes, right? So a tree that has deep roots, that really anchors itself down when the storms come, that tree can be left standing after the storm clears and passes. And so when we talk about our nervous system and, staying, grounded and rooted in ventral vagal safety and all of that, it's just what we're saying is, while we're bringing this together and home, is that we have to anchor ourselves first. And in the nervous system and in all of this is where the anchor is in the heart space deep within us, that doesn't get shaken. It may get shaken, but it's very strong and steady. So anyway, there's a correlation through some of the yoga practices you may have been through. But somatic repair practice. And so when we do our yoga practices, sometimes people, it's been known that I like to go in and do hard flow yoga classes, so they get surprised when we get in here. But this is for a very different purpose. This is for nervous system healing and neuroplastic repair, which requires a different type of yoga practice for it. So agency is not forcing forgiveness or clarity. Agency is the nervous system knowing that it can survive any outcome. So Dr. Tara Swartz is one of my favorite sources for this. Her work reminds us that the brain changes through repetition, embodiment, and emotional relevance. So agency is not forgiveness or reconciliation, but agency is an access to a pause. It is a presence without sensation, and it's having choices without urgency. So the nervous system must believe I can survive whatever I choose. And so when we work with this neuroplasticity, this is what we're talking about. And when we talk about somatic yoga practices and neuroplastic repair, is that each transition that we do in a yoga practice, when we move on to the mat to work in that limb, to work with the body up, is that each slow transition builds new neural pathways of trust. So When we have our pauses in those yoga practices, it retrains the nervous system that choice exists. And this is how unprocessed events release, not by reliving them, but by completing them safely. And so that we're able to move through, if we just broke it down to energy that gets stuck in the tissues from an unpleasant experience. So when we move our physical bodies, we release that stuck energy and it opens up. And the beautiful thing is the thinking mind in a yoga practice is not welcome. You have to set your thinking brain off to the side and you have to be involved in the practice with intention, but feeling what you feel. So this is how we work with stopping yoga practices. So each is the neuroplastic repair, and then how cycles stop. So cycles stop when safety is learned without harm, when truth is paired with regulation, and when responsibility replaces self-hatred. So as we get done with all the download of all this information, is that take home with you that you are not broken, that you are a patterned being, and that patterns change through capacity and not with force. So love requires capacity, and capacity must be built. So let's just sit for a moment, because when safety returns to the body, trust becomes possible, repair becomes real, and choice replaces compulsion. So let's take our final breath as we close out the download of information that we got. You got to trust that your brain will, the seeds get planted, you take what you want, leave the rest behind. But for now, sit up nice and tall, and let's just take a few deep breaths. As you inhale through the nose, open your mouth and just sigh, exhale, and let it go. Again, whether your eyes are softened, closed, whatever it may be, just allow yourself to inhale, knowing that there's no force in learning this. And when you open your mouth, sigh, exhale, let it all go out, just leaving everything behind. Trust and believe as you inhale through the nose, you're taking only what you need. When you sigh, exhale, and let it out through the mouth. But the mission statement, so stay with me a little bit here with the mission statement, because this emotional wellness is here for a reason, and it's been developed in such a beautiful way that I feel like it just really helps with, especially if you're having top-down therapy, bottom-up, and completing a picture. But anyway, it's just meant to be for everybody, attainable and open to everybody. And that just remembering that healing is not linear, it's incremental. So we have to keep showing up. But I hope that these resources that I'm about to share with you and all the information that was given, that it supports your path towards safety, clarity, and inner authorship. So here's a few of the resources and references, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through this. And so we know that if you are here with me live, we're about to transition onto our mat. So if you had to go to the restroom or whatever, this is a beautiful time, because my resources and references are numerous. There's so much that all of this is coming in and referring to, and a lot of resources for you to continuing studying these things and working with your therapist with this information to bring the body in for this. And yeah, so that's it. All right, so then what we will do is move over to the mats. I'll establish the camera, and I am pinned. Okay, let me grab my stuff and I'll see you on the mat. We're going to start with just by taking a seat. You're going to see that I have all kinds of bunny stuff on me where I'm warm. But I'll be taking that off because we don't use socks in a practice that we might be standing and doing things with. So just because you need the non-slip surface. So we'll transition over. And like I had reminded you, is that you will do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Looking just like us in the yoga poses is not important. But when I sit, I'll be sitting on a blanket or something that elevates my hips a little higher than my knees. And then when you take your seat, I'm going to sit in cross-leg position, but of course you can sit in a chair. So none of this is that important, but I'll cross my legs and I'm going to go with a wider cross. So I have a heel in front of the heel, inner thighs back and apart, which will take the pull off of my knees. And as I sit up nice and tall, allow myself to just take the breath in and exhale out. It's more about getting grounded and transitioning from a place of with the books into our feeling the practice now. We get to set the thinking mind away and just feeling how this practice lands within our bodies. So as you allow yourself to take a breath in and take a breath out, notice the discomfort that you might be feeling with the seat that you have chosen. And take a moment, and you want to angle the top of your pelvis, angle toward the floor, then lean your shoulders back where you're stacking the shoulders over your hips. The inner thighs are back and apart, takes the pull off the knees, and bring all awareness to your seat and allow yourself to feel anchored. And as you anchor down through your seat, remember the tree and the roots that we talked about. Imagine that your root system is getting deeper. So you anchor it down, but as you do that, you can lift up through the crown of the head, and we create the spaciousness in the spine within the vertebrae of the body. So allow yourself to notice any opening, any kind of freedom that you may feel deep within. Allow yourself to be aware of I am inhaling in and I am exhaling out. Allow the breath to become a bit softer, transitioning the breathing into the nose as you inhale and exhaling out through the nostrils as you exhale. So it's a nice slow inhale, and you want to think about filling up the lungs in the front of the ribs, the side of the ribs, the back side of the ribs. And when you exhale out, exhaling through the nose and allow the ribs to knit closer together. Inhaling through the nose, this time feel your belly rise. Feel the rib cage expand in all directions, especially the back ribs up into your chest. And when you exhale, chest, ribs, belly, empty it all out. Slowing it down, inhaling, feel the belly rise. The ribs expanding softly but fully into the chest and open. Exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. Keep it going as you inhale through the nose, the 3-part breath. Belly, ribs, chest. Exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. Slowing it down more at your own pace, inhaling and exhaling. But as you are feeling the breath move through you, start to bring to mind an intention for this practice. Whatever it is that brought you here today, that brings you into this moment, whatever it is that you need to take away from this time together, start to bring that within your own heart. I want to feel inner strength and inner peace. Whatever it is for you, as we start to bring this intention into our practice, we'll take a moment and we will draw our prayer hands into the heart center, allowing the heart to rise, anchored through the seat. After your next exhale, I'll do an Om. Inhaling deeply. The group intention that I set for this practice today is very simple. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere feel happy and free. May my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to their happiness in some way. So as you bring your own personal attention deep within your heart, we bow our heads to our heart center, setting the intention in, releasing your hands onto your thighs. You can lift your chin and you can slowly open the eyes. So we'll take a moment here where we extend the arms out to the sides. As you extend the arms out to the sides, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. So I'm still looking forward, turning my right palm face up, bending my right elbow, and allowing my right palm to gently touch my left ear. And as I do that, I take my throat back, ears back, and I feel a gentle little stretch along the left side. So now I want you to become a superhero through the left fingertips, keeping the right ear to the right shoulder, and see if there's any space where you could take the left arm down just a little bit. It will intensify the stretching sensation. But feel yourself sitting tall, throw back, ears back, a gentle pressure from your right hand to your right ear, your left ear, and your right ear is reaching for the shoulder, and just breathe. So breathing into any little bit of tightness you might feel, not too intense, but use your breath into that space. And when you exhale, see if you can find a little more space. So staying right here. Now try something just a little bit different. We keep the same arms and everything that we're doing, but gently push your head against the right hand, but the right hand resists. And so see how that might change the sensation that you feel within the stretch. Don't forget to breathe into any sensations that you're having. And when you exhale, see what's ready to be left behind. We're going to do just a little bit more. So we're keeping everything the same, but you're going to release a little bit of the pressure with the right hand, and you're going to turn your chin to your right shoulder. And then very gently from your right shoulder, as you inhale, you'll draw a line from your chin to the left corner of the ceiling. And from the left corner of the ceiling, bringing your chin slowly back to your right shoulder. Just see what you feel. This is flossing our deeper connective tissue. So we're going to do that nice and slow, where we're turning the chin down to the shoulder and then drawing the line with the chin all the way up to the corner. Last one, we're going to bring the chin down to the shoulder. And then from here, I release the right hand that was holding the left ear. Bring the right arm back out. I'm going to let the hands touch down for a minute. Then lift the chin back up, and then we're back in the center. So just take a moment here. Ooh, that was deep, right? Okay, from your seated position, take your left ear to the left shoulder. This one's really tight for me. Extending the arms out. What's happening for you? That's what you should check. Left palm turns up. Bend the left elbow. The left palm is gently going to touch onto the right ear. My goal is to get my left ear to the left shoulder without force. Keep the shoulder blades moving down your back. Pull your low ribs back. Push through your seat. Just stay present. And just notice what you feel. I feel a little bit more tightness here. Superhero out through the right fingertips. And then very gently, so the arm's not intended to touch down. It's just reaching out, but you see where the arm can go. And then you feel what you feel inside. And just little sensations, you just stop and hang out there, breathing into it, so it shouldn't be painful. So I'm looking forward. I've got my left palm on my right ear. My right ear is trying to touch my left ear is trying to touch my left shoulder. And so you're breathing. And then we want to try that little experiment where I push my head into my hand, but the hand resists. So I feel those two pushing against each other. That's the perfect opportunity to slide the shoulder blades down the back. And there's just such little sensations, but tap into that and breathe, inhaling and exhaling. Now, reduce the pressure of the hand and the head against each other. And then very gently, keeping everything the same, just take your chin to your left shoulder. So I'm basically looking down. And then I'm going to draw a line from my chin all the way through the center of the room, up to the right corner of the room. And then exhaling, I'm bringing the chin back through to the shoulder. And then gently open. So you go at your own pace, but slower is better so that you can feel what's happening within you. I feel so many different sensations. And I'm just being very gentle with myself, allowing the turning back and forth And this is a bit of flossing into the deeper tissue where there's chronic tightness and tension. And then we're moving to the last one. So as we come from the ceiling back down to the chin to the shoulder, I'm gently going to release my left arm, bring it up, out, hands touch down, and then float the head back up to the top. Wow. So then I want to roll the shoulders up and back, up and back. And then I'm going to ask you to go, I don't know, real tight, and then drop it. Do it again. I don't know, and then drop it. Good. One more, real tight, and then drop it down. Good. And then shake it all out. And if you want to roll your shoulders and just a nice little bit of opening, beautiful. So we're working with the nervous system, and the vagus nerve is all included in all that area. So then we're going to come over here and come on to our hands and knees. And so from the hands and knees, I've got my mats out and I'll be changing directions all the time, but you're just going to get on your mat to where you place your wrist underneath your shoulders. Your knees are about hip bone distance apart. I like to keep my back toes curled under and just kind of engage my muscles, right? So this is a very easy baby cat-cow. So as I inhale, I'm going to lift my head, chest, seat up, arching through the back. And as you exhale, bring the head in, pelvis comes in, chin to the chest, and rounding in my upper back, squeeze the air up. Okay, let's do that together very slowly, rolling through the spine. As you roll through, lift your head, chest, seat up, arch. Exhaling, head comes in, pelvis comes in, push around and squeeze it out. Even slower this time because you're waking up the nervous system, the spinal cord, all of the nervous system, and you're exhaling. And when you bring it in, you're just like squeezing and compressing all of these things out. It feels so good. One more just for the road because it feels so way too good for me. I need this. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring it in and squeeze it all out. And then you inhale your spine into a neutral position. So you have the belly up, the tail down. I'm going to move back, but you're doing just fine where you are. I just want you to be able to see. So from the hands and knees, remember, pad your knees if it's getting too tender. But from here, this is called a puppy dog pose. So my hips are staying over my knees. They don't move, but I'm going to crawl my arms out and away like a down dog. So that's why the sticky mat is really nice to have. So I push against it, walking my hands out, keeping the hips over the knees. The hips are not coming forward, they're over the knees. And then I'm going to come down where I can. So I keep pressure on my hands, bowing your head. I have to lift my head so I can see you, but your ears are lining up with your arms, and you push your hands down and then bring your shoulder blades together and see if you can't tilt your toe up and melt the heart down. And this is a nice little shoulder opener. If I could drop my forehead down, I would do that. My chin down, I would do that. But no comparison to anybody else. You be you in this practice, but feel, how is this opening up in the shoulders? How do I feel that I'm still tight and toned in the abdomen, but the tail is reaching up? And breathe. Then it takes quite a bit of power. You're going to push your hands down to lift your head and chest, and very slowly bring your hands back to where your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And then from this hands and knees position, just really slowly, I'm going to do circles with the hips. So I'm going to take both of my hips over to the right side, keeping the hands where they are, knees where they are. Then I'm going to push my hips back toward my heels. Then I'm going to move my hips way over to the left, about as far as I can go. And then I'm going to put the hips forward. And then I'm going to go hips to the right. You can put breathing with it. Back, exhale. Inhale to the left. Forward. Right. Slow. Remember we talked about the somatic? So find your little pace here where you just feel the hips getting, I call it oiling the tin can man. You get a little bit of oiling in the joints, but it's really good for hip mobility. Okay. And then we go back, left, and then back to the front center. And let's reverse that. So here we go. Both hips go way over to the left. Push the hips back.
Hips go way over to the right and forward, left, back, right. See if you compare your breath with this. Just find an inhale and an exhale. And think about oiling the tin can man. Are you able to breathe as you do this? Are you feeling sensations in one area over the other? You can slow down when you find a sensation and you want to kind of explore that. Take some time and let that slow down and just breathe. Good. And then after a few more, we're going to think about coming back into our neutral position. And from the neutral position, a down dog is nice. So I'm going to put the tops of my feet down, my big toes together, knees open wide. I'm going to push the booty back to the heels, sitting back onto my heels. And this is a great way just to measure out the proper distance for a down dog anyway. So I'm going to stretch my arms as far away from me as possible. Remember, if your hands are too close together, open your hands up wider, about shoulder distance apart, index fingers parallel with one another, and allow your forehead to simply rest here for just a moment. So we're in an active child's pose. We're reaching out and stretching. And remember the part that you want open, the lungs, right? So we're reaching our arms out and then push your hands down. Keep your hands where they are. Pull yourself forward to hands and knees. It's a little bit different right there. Keep your hands where they are. Keep your feet where they are. Curling the toes under. And then by pushing the floor away with strong and steady arms, I'm going to lift my knees up. As I lift my knees up, I'm going to bring them closer together. I'm going to start pushing my chest to my thighs. And then I might think about straightening my legs, working my heels down toward the floor. So there's your upside down V into a down dog position. And just taking a moment here to cycle your legs. Then one knee working opposite heel down, inhaling and exhaling. Shake your head yes, shake your head no, flub your lips. And remember, you could be doing this with your hands on a chair, walking the legs back a little bit. You could be doing a down dog on the wall. So going at your own pace and capacity. And then after a few cycles of the legs, staying in the down dog with straight arms and straight legs with a definite point up on the pelvis, right? Come up high onto your tippy toes. Push your chest really close to the thighs. Let your heart melt down toward the floor. Take a deep inhale here. And as you exhale, stretching the center of your heels down evenly to the floor. And then very slowly start to bring your shoulders forward, bringing your knees back down. And now we're back into the hands and knees. So sit back onto your heels into a child's pose. And this time you can have your arms alongside of you. Let them rest. Let your shoulders rest. Let the forehead rest. You know, whether you're using props or not, block could be under the forehead. But just find yourself in this position that is it's very comforting to curl in. Maybe, maybe not. But just see what it holds for you and breathe, inhaling and exhaling. When the time is right, you take your arms and you're going to reach them out. We're going to come on to the hands and knees again. And let's visit the down dog, curling the toes under, knees up, chest to the thighs, straightening the legs, down dog. So in the down dog, if it's taking care of yourself, take the right leg all the way up to the sky. Just see how that feels. Keep the hip point squaring off to the floor. And then float the right foot back down. Let's try the left side. So both hands pushing the floor away, chest to the thighs, left leg strong and steady, lifting all the way up. Just the different sensations of each leg, how they might differ, right? And then bring it back down. Let's do the right leg up again. Right leg up. Now, just for fun, we're going to shift our shoulders forward to where maybe the shoulders are over the wrist. Bringing the right knee up into your chest, just see if it's possible. And then as you exhale, send the leg back up, pushing chest to the thighs. Here we go. Bringing the right knee into the chest, shifting shoulders over the wrist, and exhale all the way up. Now, this next one, we'll try to bring the right foot up between the hands. So if I can't step the right foot up between the hands, I could bring the left knee down, grab my right foot, and I want to bring it up between my hands. So I can grab my right ankle and just plop that puppy down. But you want to get where your wrists are lining up with your ankle. And then from there, I'm going to oochie scoochie my right foot forward a little bit more. And I'm going to move my right knee over the heel or ankle. It's a good time to have blocks around just in case, because I'm going to keep bringing the hips down. So the knee is over the heel or ankle. I might scooch the foot out a little bit further, knee over the heel or ankle. But now, because the back knee is down, you can notice I have the back toes curled under too. I'm going to work on bringing my knee in front of my toes. So I'm going to try to bring my hips a little closer to the floor, and that's why blocks could be nice for people. So you bring your right knee in front of the toes, which means the hips are coming lower. There's more of a stretch on the left front leg. There's a whole lot happening here, right? So just see what's happening for you and breathing into that, inhaling and exhaling. And then as I bring the hips closer, I might start to get a bit of back pain. If that's happening for you, be more active in your tail. Reach your tail down, tone your low belly, feel your skin hugging muscles, muscles hugging the bone, and breathe. Yeah, you still got your hands on the blocks. See where you can go, where maybe you can tone the belly, reach the tail down, open up the heart. See if you can feel your shoulder blades, tips of the shoulder blades pressing into the back of the heart. And maybe you can look up, inhale. I'm going to have the blocks. So whether you have the blocks or not, you might need them. So then I'm going to push my right foot into the floor, start to straighten the right leg, shifting the hips back. So there's not a whole lot moving other than what I'm talking about. Then I get to the point where I flex my right foot super strong. This is kind of like a runner stretch, right? And then I want to make sure that I'm pointing the foot, if you know what that means, but I'm energetically hugging and squeezing skin to muscle, muscle to bone. If you've been with me a while, remember the inner thighs back and apart, do your pus dispenser, anchor tail, bring the heart forward. And maybe there's a forward fold in here for you. But legs are active, hips are level and even, and there's maybe a forward fold. But this is definitely intense stretching on the back of your right leg. I don't know if you feel that or not. But breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. And then by pressing into the blocks, lifting the head and chest, we're going to start to get the right foot back down. The hips shift a little more forward. Open up through the heart, inhale. Exhale, straightening the leg, the hips coming back, flexing the foot. So just kind of moving through that. Here we go. Knee forward, hips down, tail engaged, heart open. Exhale, flexing the foot, forward fold. And then inhaling back into neutral, setting the blocks off to the side. Palms are going down if I can. I'm going to drag the right foot back to hands and knees. A little bit of a down dog. Woo, exhale. Shake your head yes and no, breathing into that. And then remember what we did? We shifted our shoulders more forward, lifted the left foot, tried to bring the left knee up into the chest, and then we push the left leg all the way up. Here we go. Left knee comes into the chest, trying to bend her a little more forward, and then push it all the way up and just see how that feels. I'm going to do another one. This one feels so good. Knee into the chest. I know, right? Leg goes up. But you know where we're going, right? We want to be able to bring the left knee, the left foot in between the hands. So if it doesn't make it, don't get discouraged. Set the foot down. Back knee goes down. Grab your ankle. Bring the foot forward. Grab your blocks. Have your blocks. It doesn't matter what height you got. Just stable on the blocks. Let your knees start coming in front of your toes. And it's important that you're keeping your hip points and shoulder points facing the short edge of your mat, right? So you kind of want to know where those are in space. So I go forward, try to lift through the heart, look up. Then I want to push, straightening the leg, flexing the foot super strong, point, maybe a forward fold. Exhale. As you begin to inhale, the left foot's touching down, the left knee's over the heel or ankle, then the left knee goes in front of the toes, opening through the heart on the inhale. Exhale, straightening the left leg, forward fold. Woo. One more. Coming in, heart open, throat back. That just feels so good. Straighten the leg. I don't want to stop. And then we move it into neutral. Gosh, that was good stuff. All right. So then I'm going to set my blocks off, hands down, get the left knee, bring it back. And so we're back onto our hands and knees. Now, pushing the seat back toward the heels. The hips go over to the left side. So I'm turning for you so you can see. So I went from hips to the left, and there I am. I'm sitting. I have my right ankle and the arch of my left foot. Just here. Breathe. This is such a great pose. It felt so good. So the right hand goes to the outside left leg. The left fingertips are going to crawl. I'm already cramping up. Okay, you give this a try. Anchor through your left hip, lift through your heart, inhale. And as you exhale, twist a little bit to the left. I'm looking forward. You're looking over your left shoulder. And in fact, you're trying to bring your chin as close to your left shoulder as possible. So every inhale, get taller. Every exhale. So I feel this on my right outer hip. I feel this in a lot of places. Where are you feeling this pose? Twisting is so good for the digestive system. So when we have anxiety and stress in our life, digestion is one of the first things to go. So a nice deep twist like this is very, very nice. All together, we'll inhale and look forward. And then when we exhale, we'll release that twist. And your job is to come forward onto your knees and go over to your right hips. Oh, simple, right? So I'm on my right hip, the left ankle resting in the arch of the right foot. I'm just turning so that you can see better. Then I have to, like, with my right hand, push my shoulders back over the hips, and you see how this is settling in. Left hand to the outer right leg. Right fingertips are going to crawl. I use like spidey fingers. So then I push down, lift the heart up, because you want to make space in the spine like a spiral staircase, and then you take your twist with space in the spine. I'm looking forward, you're looking over your right shoulder, and you're feeling what you feel in there. Okay, so every inhale, I'm getting taller. Every exhale, I'm taking the twist a bit deeper. Where do you feel this in your body? And is it the same as the other side? So there's a lot of comparisons. You want to compare right side to the left side. What feels different? Do I feel my shoulders creeping in? Remember to open up the chest, shoulder blades closer to each other. They tuck into the back pocket. Pull your low ribs back in space. And continue with your twist where you feel a definite anchor through the right hip. Where do you feel the stretching? And just remember that the compression in the abdominal area where the digestive organs are, so very healthy with releasing toxins through our system. You know, the breath in and the breath out. Now, together, inhale, we'll look forward. And as we exhale, we release that twist. That's beautiful. So then we just take our legs and swing them to the front of our mats to where we can just like lay down. So I'm going to allow myself to go lay down. Take a moment, stretch it out. You deserve it. Feels so good in the body. So if it feels good to you, take a nice deep stretch. And then with that, you'll draw your heels back towards your seat to where your feet are on the floor. And so we're going to do this final thing. And so you need the block, or you can elevate on a block or a bolster, whatever you've got. But I want to get my hips higher So I'm pushing my feet down to lift the hips up, sliding the block underneath the sacrum, so the bony part. And there's this like super perfect place where you let the block rest. You let your low back really go heavy into that. When we work with the harder surfaces, like I'm using a cork block or a wooden block, that compresses on the muscles and the tissues to where you get this release and a deeper tissue level. But sometimes I can't handle the hard blocks, so I use soft blocks. So up to you. But you've got the hips higher than your heart. But what I'm going to ask you to do is stabilize your hips as long as it feels good right there, and crawl. I dig my elbows in and I crawl my shoulders a little further away because you want that space in your spine. See if that didn't open up some freedom for you to breathe. As you allow your hips to rest deeply, if we want to release some toxins, this is really good for insomnia, anxiety, for blood flow. I'm going to bring the right knee up over my hip, not knee into the chest, but knee up over the hip. If it works out well, I might be able to bring both knees up, but there should be no abdominal work. So make sure that you're being true to that your hips are resting well, they feel comfortable, your knee is over the hip. And if it feels okay for you and you want to, you can extend the legs up for a deep drainage of the lower extremities. We have so much, sometimes we sit so much, so it's very nice to reverse gravity, have all the blood flowing from the legs, and it goes into the hips where there's the lymphatic system is heavy. Body's housekeeper is going to take the toxins away. And then very important that you're breathing, inhaling and exhaling, so that you're getting a good oxygen exchange, getting good cleansing, so that the blood that's going to go back into your legs is a nice, healthy, oxygenated blood supply. So right now you're draining all the fluid from the lower extremities, the blood, the fluids, the toxins, everything. So breathing into that. And so this is very calming to our nervous system, just to have the legs up the wall. So if you can do one thing a day, maybe elevate your legs up. That would be like the thing to do. So as you breathe in and breathe out, sometimes you have to work the amount of time up. But since, we're on limited time, I'm going to bend one knee, bringing the calf parallel with the floor. Then the other knee, the calf parallel with the floor, and just kind of let my heels settle in. So this is now a slow return of blood flow into the legs. It's very important that we do these things slowly because it affects our blood pressure. So then put one foot to the floor, the other foot to the floor. So the hips are still higher than the heart. I suffer from low back issues, so I'm going to bring my feet in a little bit closer so that when I want to, I will push my feet down. I will lift my hips up. So I'll tone the buttocks as I lift my hips up. And I'm going to take this block out, but very important, go slowly when you bring it down. Upper back, one vertebra at a time, all the way into the lower back. Then you get back down and breathe here. Then take your right leg, cross it over the left, high in the upper thighs. There's not a lot of space in the legs. Extend your right arm out to the side, shoulder height with the palm up. So you're laying the back of your right hand to the floor. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, let your right knee go over to the left side. Gazing out over your right fingertips, breathing in and exhaling out, a supine spinal twist. So the breath in, the breath out, inhaling and exhaling. So notice where you feel any sensations. Let the breath move in and exhale out. When the time is right, draw the navel into the spine to protect your back. On an inhale with the navel to the spine, bring your knees and head back to the center. Uncross your legs. Readjust your spine to neutral. Now cross the left leg over the right leg. Cross it high in the thighs. Left arm extends out to the side, shoulder height to higher with the palm up. Anchoring through the left shoulder, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, the left knee going over toward the right side. You might see that the knees can make it to different places on each side. Like what are you finding out about one side of your body to the other? Is it perfectly even? Just what is it? So breathe into any little tightness or tenderness. Notice if it was different from one side to the other. Let the breath move in and exhale out. But spinal twisting, what's good for our, for vitality, for having spinal flexibility is like youthfulness. It's also a compression on the digestive system, so it helps with so many things. I love spinal twist. As long as you can breathe in and exhale out, and when the time is right, draw the navel to the spine and inhale, bring knees and head back to the center, uncross your legs, readjust your spine to neutral. Then from here, we'll hug our knees up into our chest. So bringing the knees up. First, I'm going to squeeze my shins straight down, and I feel my low back get a bit of a release. I point my toes a lot. And now we're going to get a throat squeeze. For so many reasons, this throat squeeze. But do your very best to hug your knees up into your chest and see if you can lift your shoulders and head up. Bring your forehead to your knees. I like to kiss my knees because if you've been with me, you know that they don't work all the time. So thank you, knees. Squeeze yourself tight. Make a terrible face, but make sure you get that front throat squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, let your legs go out, arms go out, palms up. I'm getting up. You're staying there. But I'm inviting you now to get into the most comfortable position you can find. So you might put something, a blanket rolled up or a bolster underneath your thighs. Let your legs rest on that. Feel your low back settle in. Allow yourself to simply melt into the earth beneath you. And the beautiful thing is that there is nothing for you to do. There is nothing for you to fix. But we are going to lay back and let this practice do what it does best. So the feet falling out to the sides, arms out to the sides, palms are facing up. Begin to settle in to stillness. As you settle back, reminding yourself that it's not about sleeping and checking out, but it's about a systematic relaxation of our physical body. So allowing yourselves to settle into stillness. And allow the back of your body to become heavy. Allow the earth to do all of the holding. There is nothing to achieve here. There is nothing to fix here. And there is nothing to prove here. It's just rest. Take one slow breath in through the nose and a soft exhale out through the mouth. Again, slow inhale and a long, unforced exhale. Let your jaw soften. Let your tongue rest away from the roof of the mouth. And let the space behind the eyes grow wide and quiet. Begin to feel the weight of your heels, the weight of your calves, the weight of your hips, and the gentle rise and fall of your breathing. Your nervous system is listening. And right now, it is safe to soften. Begin to notice the room around you, the sounds that are there, the temperature of the air, and all of the support beneath you. And without changing anything, just notice. Your body knows the difference between threat and safety. And in this moment,
There is no threat. Let the back body widen and let the breath deepen naturally. If it feels steady enough, gently bring the mind to the part of you that has known heartbreak, the part that has felt betrayed, the part that believed love should not hurt like this. Do not analyze it. Do not relive it. Simply acknowledge it. That hurt was real, but notice where it lives in the body. Is it in the throat? Is it in the chest? Is it in the belly? Or is it in the jaw? There's no need to change it. Just witness it. You are not weak for having loved. You are not foolish for having trusted. Attachment is not a flaw. It's a biology seeking safety. And when safety is ruptured, the body responds. There is nothing wrong with you. If there is any voice that says, I should have known, I wasn't enough, I was too much, or I should be over this now, let that voice soften. If it feels right for you, you can place one hand over the heart, if that feels okay. But quietly repeat, I did the best I could with the capacity I had at the time. My nervous system was trying to protect me. And shame is not my identity. Let there be a long exhale. Now imagine your nervous system as a dial, not broken, not defective, simply adaptive. And with each slow breath, that dial turns gently toward regulation. Inhale, expanding capacity. Exhale, releasing contraction. Inhaling safety. Exhaling, softening. You are building new neural pathways right now. Safety can be practiced. Trust can be rebuilt. First, with yourself. Bring your awareness back to the heart center. Imagine a warm, steady light there. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just steady. This light is not dependent on another person's behavior. It does not leave when somebody else does. It is yours. It always has been. The love you gave was real, and it came from you. Let that land. Silently repeat after me. I am not defined by someone else's limitations. I am not defined by someone else's limitations. Another person's incapacity is not evidence of my unworthiness. Another person's incapacity is not evidence of my unworthiness. I am allowed to grieve and still move forward. I am allowed to grieve and still move forward. I am allowed to grow beyond what hurt me. I am allowed to grow beyond what hurt me. Notice how the body receives those words. Feel the back body again, heavy and supported. And notice your breath, steady. Notice your heart, it's present. The wound may still exist, but so does resilience. You are not returning to who you were before this pain. You are becoming someone more integrated, more discerning, and more embodied. There is wisdom in your nervous system, and there is intelligence in your healing, and it unfolds in increments. Take one final slow inhale and a long, complete exhale. Feel the edges of your body, the shape of your hands, the temperature of your skin. Become aware of every inhalation. Become aware of every exhalation. Allow every inhalation to rejuvenate. Allow every exhalation to cleanse. When you exhale, be sure that you're exhaling completely. As you continue to bring awareness into the breath, become aware of your physical body. Become aware of fingers, become aware of your toes. Maybe a little movement in the fingers, a little movement into your toes, maybe a big stretch. Stretching of the arms overhead, stretching out through your legs, stretching the right side a little more than the left side a little more than the right. Give yourself time to stretch it out nice and even. Allow yourself to bring your feet onto the floor slowly. And allow yourself a moment to where you can just turn over to your right side, curled up in a little tiny ball, and you're still staying down. Just know that love doesn't stink. Unhealed nervous systems do. And you are actively healing yours. Remember to keep any and all relaxation that you may have gained from this practice. So your head will be the last thing to come up as you turn toward the floor. Use your left hand and your right arm and begin to gently press yourself up into taking a seat. And when you take your seat, pick a seat and then become still. As you pick a seat and you become still, allow yourself to feel grounded, the anchor, the rooting system of the tree. And as you press down and the roots get deeper, you're allowed to lift up and open up a bit more. Allow the chin to come parallel with the floor. Take your throat back, ears back, sliding shoulders away from your ears. And by the way that you anchor down more, you can find freedom and space for the breath to move, for the heart to open, for the shine, your light to shine. So by anchoring, shining, breath in, breath out, bring back to mind the intention that you set for this entire workshop and practice that we've had. And as you begin to bring that back into your mind, we'll conclude our practice with the sound of Om. We bring our hands back into the heart center. After your next exhale, inhale to begin. Bowing your head to your own heart center, just take a moment of gratitude, reflecting upon the beautiful light that shines within your own heart. We look for light in all beings. Today, we see each other's light and we bow to each other's light with Namaste. So thank you so much for joining me for this workshop and for this practice. I'm going to turn off the recording and then those participants will return back for just a few moments. But otherwise, thank you so much. Such a pleasure. See you soon.